Hi everyone, it's Robin here on our Good Place bench, part of Placemaking Week 2025, hosted by Placemaking Europe. And we're glad to be here interviewing and talking to like-minded city enthusiasts that are all like working on, how can we make our cities, improve our cities, make our cities better for future. And yeah, we've already had some nice interviews with different people with different topics and trends. And next to me is David. Hey, David, how are you today?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me. Very excited about this.
Good, good, good. Tell us a bit more about, well, where are you from? What brought you to Reggio Emilia?
I was born in a little city called Merida in the middle or in the beginning of the Andes Mountains in Latin America, between Venezuela and Colombia. And I moved to the U.S. When I was like 18 to go to school. I did civil engineering. I grew up in a family of architects and engineers and always in the middle of the built environment at a construction site. And I was always interested in how urban settings form over time and how inequality in our society gets expressed in the built environment. So I did my master's in urban planning.
Okay.
And from then on, I started working and getting involved more into placemaking, real estate development, social housing, and I love all about it, all the diversity and the challenges and the multifaceted issues that the industry has. But at the end of the day, really connecting with people, with nature, and how do we all come together as one.
And you do that by yourself or as part of a company or initiative?
No, I have been lucky to collaborate and be helped by a lot of people. This industry, I think, depends on community support. So I was very lucky during my school that one of my professors was able to offer me a job. And as a migrant in the United States and stuff like that, you need a support from an employer. But anyway, I was lucky to have a great mentor, and he was the CEO of a small organization that we eventually grew over time to about 50 people. But this was a nonprofit real estate developer, social housing community developer. But I spent about 8 to 9 years there, and I started at the project management level of real estate with no boss, but a good mentor. And then as we grew, I created what it's called the design team, which was based on the ideal concept of learning, prototyping, and implementing. And it was how do we use the real estate as a, let's say, as an active force to go beyond the building, but activate the public realm, be inclusive of the communities that are around the project, and how do we think holistically about it?
Okay. Could you give an example for that? Is that in Boston or somewhere else?
So it's mostly the 9 years was spent on a small, not small actually, 100 acre. I don't know how many hectares there are, but a 100 acre master plan in a Hispanic neighborhood right outside of downtown Salem, the witch cities like Halloween, all this kind of stuff. So second most visited place in Massachusetts, Boston, Cambridge, Harvard, everything. And this Hispanic neighborhood was just a block away from downtown. So we did a master plan, engaged in the community, and we learned that quality housing, and affordable housing was very important. Social infrastructure, parks, sidewalks was another thing important. But another thing that came very important was the stigma of place.
Yeah.
And this is the other side of the tracks, and people may don't want to come here. And how do we work through that? Because that came very prominent in the conversations that we're having with the community when we're doing the master plan. So we knew how to do housing. We knew that with money we could do social infrastructure, but how do we challenge that stigma? And that was quite a challenge. And so as my role was evolving in the organization and we were doing real estate development, we knew that we couldn't just do real estate, and that's why it morphed into the design team. And the idea was to think creatively about how do we use the force of real estate to address stigma. And so we embedded the arts from the beginning, and we collaborated with artists to figure out ways to create dialogue between the two communities. So we started with a very little mural of the crosswalks that no one wanted to cross, and we saw the artists. We put some food, some music, and we saw the artists for the first time interacting with the downtown community, the bank, let's say, person, and the Latino woman. And he was like, "Oh, you know what? Do you all mind if I paint you on the crosswalk, your faces?" And then we ended up with a crosswalk with the different faces painted in the community. And that was like the first year that we were starting to work in the neighborhood. And we're like, "Oh my God, this is very, very powerful."
Yeah, yeah.
And so as we were brainstorming together, one person, a local artist, mentioned, if you do 10 murals in a big city, it's a big statement. But if you do 10 murals within 2 neighborhood blocks, that's almost like an open art gallery, like an open art museum. And we're like, oh my God, this is incredible. And at the moment, we own 30 buildings in the neighborhood. So we're like, oh my God, like we have so much, exactly. And how can we start collaborating with artists? And how do we make a product also that belongs to the community? Because at the end of the day, it's who owns the public realm, right? So we did a little bit of research around the world about like what are the best public art programs and what kind of tensions, the good and the bad things. So we learned and we created a very mission-driven program with the goal of breaking the invisible barrier between the two neighborhoods. But at the end of the day, it aims to create neighborhood pride. It aims to support the local businesses so that the tourist economy of all the witches hopefully come and also support also the businesses, and to be a platform to talk about social justice, about why this neighborhood exists like this.
Yeah.
And so little by little, we started collaborating with the neighborhoods, with the residents, and we started installing art. And we saw that the community really wanted this to come. And so for a span of 8 to 9 years, we installed maybe, I don't know, 75 artists. We have 3 full-time people dedicated just to the arts in the organization. We call it now the Punto Urban Art Museum. It has become a destination of itself within the tourist economy of Salem. This year, the tourist agency of the city, in the front cover has a community mural of the neighborhood that before it was like no one goes there. The trolley goes around and never comes back.
Such a magnet, too.
And who belongs to, right? It's the stories, it's the faces of the people. Like the neighborhood association president is in the mural. The person who does the empanadas at the coffee shop is also in the mural. And they're very proud of who they are.
It gives identity to the neighborhood.
And pride at the same time, that hey, this is who we are, and hey, you might be moving in or moving out, but like this is kind of like who we are and what the community is, and you're welcome here as well because this is a community of immigrants. And so it was very transformational, and thanks to that work, I'm invited here by the Urban Land Institute, who we have a panel tomorrow, and I will be discussing a little bit of that work.
Cool. Yeah, because the theme of the conference is designing cities for all. So your answer would be art.
Yeah, I mean, embedded all across, and I think it's a multifaceted approach. I feel it's like people should be proactive into looking beyond their normal fields, and we have to stop thinking about silos, but more about like how do we all work together in a better way. And sometimes to do that is to maybe reframe the question of what we're trying to solve for, and sometimes maybe the artist or the creative person is the best person to frame it differently so that everyone start thinking towards that goal, right? Because I feel like we're in such crisis mode today that I feel we need to redefine where we're aiming, so we have a more collective future that we can imagine all together.
Funny, amen, because the collective future is also what I live by in my work, as trying to create stories and creating space for people to share their story. It's more like creating the awareness of these stories to others, that hey, this is happening in your neighborhood, this is happening around the corner of me. It's like people with a like-minded thought. Yeah.
At the end, we're all humans, and I feel like in these stories, if we have public spaces speaking of what happened in the past, and the good and the bad, and it can be celebrated, it can be more on, but it allows us with a shared history to move forward, hopefully in a more inclusive future.
Yeah. So how do you envision that? What is it? What are your ambitions or next steps in that?
No, I don't know. I think like the power or and the anxiety that it also gives as part of the work is that you don't know, each community is unique, and my role is not to come and say, oh, this is what the vision is. It's more kind of like who we are,
Sure.
how that maybe gets transformed into the new projects, and what are the needs.
This is worth.
Exactly. And so, for example, I have worked since that project. I have moved on to work in a couple or three more low-income communities that the foundational challenges are almost the same, where they're stigmatized. They're look as not part of the city. And so how do we find those bridges, whether it's art, or it's creative ways, but like, and where is the divide? Usually maybe it's a parking lot, maybe it's a small river, but how do we turn those maybe like unseen, underutilized assets into catalysts for connection? Like maybe it's the crosswalks, right? But it starts by little, and then by learning and listening with the power of the real estate development, hopefully. And that's how my hope is.
Yeah.
You use that power to bring, because it's like one time opportunity that you bring so much investment to do that social housing project or that housing project, that how do you maximize every dollar, every euro that you have that to bring that bigger goal, that it's not just about the building itself and the apartments, but it's more about activating and making a livable community, not just the livable building within itself.
But art is at the core of your work, you'd say.
Yeah, and the thing is like, what is art, right? I will say, if you work with very creative architects, they're artists. Like I have worked with amazing architects that then they come with diagrams and storytelling. But artists, I think it's like the spirit of thinking and of aiming to think in a different way, because we need different solutions to the present world that we're in, right? I call them creatives.
Yeah, very good. Good. Creatives. Like, we're here with the Good Place bench, and we also think, you need to activate the bench if this becomes a thing, and activate the bench to make it something people understand, to be the meeting point, to connect, right? So maybe we also should think of art maybe as the way to activate this bench, and the programming, of course.
Wait, can you repeat that question again?
Sure. So the Good Place bench is something we envision to become a network where people meet and provide a listening ear and connect. But you also need to activate it, because people need to recognize it. People need to know what it's for. But also, it also takes some programming so people understand what you can do here.
Yeah.
But maybe art is the solution there as well,
Yeah.
to activate a public bench.
Yeah, it could be, color, it can be a visual artist, it can be music,
Music.
everyone who you come and interview can pick their favorite song, and that's the intro to the video. And maybe it's about their culture or whoever that is. I think that could be fun. But yeah, no, I think, I think the fact that we're here surrounded by creatives and artists, and it's already a great excuse to be here. And I don't know if this bench needs activation, because I feel like there's a lot of great energy in the
For sure.
in the conference itself. But bench is a great foundation to start a dialogue, and I think that's what great communities need always. So
Yeah.
I love the concept.
Thank you. I love your concept. I think I never heard of it yet. And then there are some art examples I know, maybe favela painting you've heard in the past, and know the guys really well that paint the favela with youth, and I love it. Using art or creativity as a way to bring people together is amazing. Since you're here on this Good Place channel as well, I would love to know, like, what is a good place for you?
A good place. A good place. It's a place that everyone feels welcome. A place that sparks curiosity. That you always feel like you want to wander around. That you want to say, "Oh, what's around that corner?" And that it feels very active and safe for everyone. I think everyone experiences safety in a different way, or curiosity. So I feel, I think that's what is a good place. Yeah.
Boston is a good place.
Yeah. I think every city has great places, and it has also history of exclusion. And I feel like cities are in the process of healing and moving forward and trying to be more inclusive. So it's very exciting to see the work that has been going on. And but yeah, Boston is a beautiful city, has a rich history, and yeah, it's very nice to live there. So
Thank you, David, for your time in this. Hope you enjoyed this chat on the Good Place Bench. Thanks for sharing your beautiful project and your vision on things. For everyone watching, check out his work. I'll put him in the in the description below with the links. And wishing you a great stay in Reggio Emilia and good times here at Placemaking
thank
Week.
you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well,
All right, thank you.
bye bye. Ciao.